Whenever you're on shift in an inpatient setting to do PPEs, you're going to want to check the binder, which will be in the nursing station. So in the back of the binder, you're going to find a PPE log, and here you'll see all the PPEs that have been done for the week. This is an example one up here. You don't want to do a PPE for a patient who's been done within 24 hours. You only want to go back if it said that they needed to have a follow-up complete, so you'll go back into that room to make sure that they've been followed up on any issues. If it says that if you see a patient that hasn't been done within 24 hours, go ahead into that room and complete a PPE. So before going to any patient room, it's important to note the patient's name, the room number, if they're on or off service, and if they have a fall risk precaution. So to determine if the patient is on or off service, you're going to look at this dot next to their name. If it's black, that means they're off service. Any other color means they're on. The fall risk sign is this one here on the door. If there's any sort of contact isolation the patient has, you'll see other signs placed on the door. This patient doesn't have any, but in case there is, you can see the appropriate protective wear here and in this drawer that you can put on before going into the room. So since this patient doesn't have any, I'm gonna go ahead and just gel in, as you should for every room, and then knock on the door.
Come in.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm good, thank you. My name is Victoria, and I'm a quality improvement intern at the hospital. And I wanted to know if I could ask you a couple questions about your experience here at UFL.
Of course.
Great, it'll only take like 5 minutes.
Sure.
So I'm going to get onto the computer, and I'm going to click on Internet Explorer. Once on Internet Explorer, you can go to the NICAP website, nicap.med.ufl.edu. Go to Students, and then Current Interns. Then you're going to click on Intern Resources, and then you're going to look for PPE Red Cap. Once that opens up, you can start filling out the information that we noted outside. If the patient was on or off service, intern name, date and time, and patient's last and first name. From there, you can go ahead and start asking the patient questions. So now that I've logged in the information that I can on the PPE form, I'm going to continue asking the patient some questions. Could I get your first name?
Amy.
Thank you, Amy. And what's your birthday?
June 12th, 1996.
Thank you. And do you know who your physician is?
I don't know. There's so many here.
Oh, I understand. To get the documented physician, you're going to want to check the board on the wall, and it'll say your team and the attending. So right here, this will be the physician that I'll write down on the PPE form. Sometimes it happens that there isn't one labeled on the board, so you can just write on the PPE form, not documented. And since the patient didn't know who her physician was, you'll also just want to write doesn't know on the form. Has your space consistently been tidy?
Not really.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. What was wrong?
The garbage hasn't been taken out for 2 days.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm going to go ahead and contact environmental services to make sure that gets resolved.
Thank you so much.
So on the form, I'm going to click no, and in comments, I'm going to type out what the patient said about the garbage, and I will contact environmental services at the end of my encounter. Has your space consistently been peaceful?
No, last night, all night long, there was so much beeping and noises in the hallway. The nurses are always laughing, and people just keep coming, walking in and out, and I can never sleep. It's really not peaceful at all.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear about that. I want to make sure I pass your message along to nurse management to make sure that they're more attentive and aware of
Thank
your
you.
needs. Because we really want to make sure that the rest of your stay here is peaceful.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Of course, yeah. Was the door shut after staff exited the room?
Only when I asked them to.
Okay, perfect. We also offer earbuds to patients to help block off all those beeping noises and everything overnight. So if you want, I could offer those to you if you want.
I'm good for now,
Okay,
thanks.
perfect. So on the form, I'm going to say no for the reasons that the patient said that her space was not peaceful, and I'll write those in the comments as well. Has your discomfort consistently been handled?
Yes.
Good, that's good to hear. And were your nurses consistently attentive to your needs?
Yeah, they're all so sweet.
Oh, perfect. All right. So since the patient said yes to both these questions, all you have to do is click yes on the form. The comment box won't show up because she said yes. And you only write comments if the patient said no and there's something that you need to report on. Has your doctor consistently been attentive to your needs?
I don't really see them that often, but I have a lot of questions I need to ask.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear about that. Would you like your attending to come and round on you?
Oh, that would be great.
Perfect. I'll reach out to my supervisor to make sure that he comes as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So on the form, I'm going to click no for being consistently attentive, write down the patient's comments, and then for the question that says, would you like your attending physician to come round on you, I'm going to click yes. And as it says here on the comments on the question, I'm going to reach out to our supervisor, Dr. Jacqueline, with the patient's information to make sure that the attending can come by as soon as possible. Did our staff consistently respond to you in a pleasant manner?
Yes, they've all been so nice.
Great, good to hear. And have you heard of our pet therapy program?
No.
Would you like us to schedule a visit with the pet therapy team to come visit you?
Yes, that would be so great.
Perfect. I'll make sure to forward that information to the right people so they can come see you before you get discharged.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So on this question, I'm going to select yes, and I'm going to make sure Transformer Culture gets the patient's information to see if they can schedule a visit for the patient. And just remember, you don't want to ask this question in neuro ICU or any ICU for that matter, because they don't allow animals on that unit. Have you heard of MyUF Health?
No, I haven't.
MyUF Health is basically a patient portal that you can access through your computer or on your phone, and you can message your doctors, you can schedule appointments, refill prescriptions, and you can also pay your bills online, so a lot of cool stuff you can do on there.
Wow, that sounds really useful.
If you want, it's free, it takes like less than 5 minutes, and I can help sign you up right now.
Sure, that'd be great.
Perfect. So since the patient showed interest in MyUF Health, I'm going to go ahead and open up Epic, look up her information for her activation code, and then sign her up. And remember to also give them one of these little cards that we have so they can write down their username and password so they can remember at home. Are there any areas of improvement that we can work on for you?
No areas of improvement, but I do have one question.
Sure.
So one of my family members, we don't watch the same things and we're not interested in the same things. So I was wondering if you have a different entertainment system that she could use?
Yeah, of course. So we actually have in some of our rooms a tablet that you can get username and password from one of the nurses, and they're right over here. So your family member can go ahead and use that to play games, look up stuff online, or watch videos. So you guys can definitely watch different things if you want to during your stay.
That's great, thank you.
So if you don't know an answer to a question, that's fine. Go ahead and ask the nurse managers or the site supervisor, and make sure you close the loop and get back to the patient as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the comments that the patient had for areas of improvement and submit the PPE form. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate all your feedback.
No, thank you so much.
Of course, and I hope you have a great day. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Nope, that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye.
At the end of your shift, make sure to go back on the NICAP website and log all the PPEs you've done for the day. So on here, back where I showed you, are students, intern resources. You're going to go look for PPE, and then on here you're going to choose your name, the date, and all the PPEs you completed for the day. And while you're on here, also make sure you're logging in all your MyUF Health encounters. You should have a 1-to-1 ratio for every PPE you've completed to all the MyUF Health encounters, since that's a question you should always be asking, and fill out the form accordingly as well. So at the end of your encounter, you're going to want to fill out one of these NICAP issue slips. Fill it out by putting in the date, room number, intern name, and the issues that were discussed. So today, our patient had an issue with environmental services, her doctor, and peacefulness. So I'm going to go ahead and check those off. At the end of the encounter, I already called environmental services and let them know that her trash hadn't been picked up in 2 days. I contacted Dr. Jacqueline, letting her know that she would like her attending physician to visit her as soon as possible. And I also let nurse management team know that she would like the remainder of her stay to be as peaceful as possible. So once I have already contacted all those people about the patient's issues, I'm going to check that it was resolved by the intern and any additional comments that you might want to leave. At the end of your shift, you're going to give all of these issue slips to the site supervisor, which can be found in your binder at the end of the manual, who the site supervisor is for each location. So you give her all these issue slips so they can stay on top of the issues going on the unit. And you can find these issue slips in the binder as well, which will be in the nurse station. So now that I completed my PPE, I'm going to go back to the binder where we had the PPE log forms, and we're going to write down all the encounters I had. So first you're going to want to note the room number you were in, if it was on or off service, fall risk, patient's last and first name, the date that you completed the PPEs, if there needed to be a follow-up, your name, if the follow-up was complete from a previous one, and any comments that you may have. So if you did complete a follow-up, there's an additional form you need to make behind this called PPE follow-up form. So you'll go back here and you'll fill out the follow-up that you did. So the first thing is date of the follow-up, the room number you did the follow-up in, last and first name of the patient, has the patient been discharged? If yes, do not complete 5 and 6, which would be these two. If they haven't been discharged, you'll fill out the issues identified from the original PPE, and finally, if the issue was resolved by staff since the original complaint.